Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going over all my luxury beauty favorites from the year of 2024 so far, but I'm doing it get ready with me style. So I already did a full video where I talked about all these products in depth, but today I'm showing you these products in action because I always do a separate video where I actually show these products and I'm trying them all on. So if you want to see me try on all my luxury beauty favorites from the year of 2024 so far, just keep watching. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the skin. I've already applied my skincare. That is always what I do first. I've let everything kind of settle in for about 10 minutes. And I'm just going to get started with the skin. And I'm not going to forget this time because I always forget to use this in videos. But I'm going to start with the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter in the shade number 3. And I'm going to use this, as I mentioned in my video, kind of as a primer product. So I like to just take a bit onto the palm of my hand, and I'll just take this BK Beauty, this is a 203 brush, and I just distribute that product evenly onto a brush, and I'm going to apply it to the high points of my face, where I want a little bit more glow. So like I've said in my previous video, I don't like to apply this all over the skin, especially in the center of my face right here, because inadvertently that will add texture to the skin just because shimmer in that area, even though this product does blur the skin, it just will emphasize texture. That's just in its nature. So I avoid shimmer products in this area pretty much all the time, mostly in the center of my face. I don't want to shimmer because I don't think it looks natural. Like, your skin naturally does not have a sheen in those areas. And so I just want to avoid shimmer at all costs. I just think it emphasizes texture in a way that's not very flattering. And then I'm going to go in, and that product is really beautiful. And if you apply it in a more generous layer, like I could apply it on like the outskirts of my face and kind of all over the face except in the center. And then you wouldn't need to apply as much foundation onto your skin because this product, this Dior product, does have a little bit of coverage to it. So it is going to blur the skin a little bit. And then you won't require as much product, but I really like this sheer product, so I'm just going to avoid applying it in a more generous layer. I'm going to take this Chantecaille. This is the Just Skin Tinted Moisturizer. This was reformulated. I'll show you the old version. So the old version did have more product in it, and it's a bit of a bigger tube. But this comes, I think it comes in more shades, kind of in their typical shades that they have released in their foundations. It is made in Japan. It has a 12-month shelf life, so I always give foundations a good shake. And then I just distribute about a pea-sized amount onto the palm of my hand. And then I just pick it up with this Shiseido brush. This is like my favorite foundation brush just because it's so big and it applies product really well. So I just go in. And again, I like to apply product on the palm of my hand because if you apply it to the back of your hand, the pores on the back of your hand will absorb that product. So I just get it evenly distributed onto this brush, and then I'll apply it to the skin. I forgot if I mentioned, I am in the shade Vanilla with this Chantecaille foundation, but this is really pretty because this product, this is a tinted moisturizer, and it literally just looks like skin. I think it is called Just Skin Tinted Moisturizer, and that's such a good name for it because it has such a beautiful skin-like quality to it. It is slightly dewier than the Future Skin foundation, which is an ultra beautiful foundation, but I think that gives more of like a skin-like appearance just because it does dry down and it gives this beautiful finish on the skin that is so skin-like. This is just slightly dewier, but it's so bare, like the difference between the two. They're very similar. I think that this one has less coverage than the previous version. Like this, I can see more skin texture through. I feel like the other version, the previous version to this one, did have a bit more coverage. It was like buildable to a medium coverage, but this is so pretty. Like this, you can see my skin texture through. You can see freckles coming through, but I really enjoy that, especially in the summertime. Like right now, I just really enjoy being able to see your skin texture through. But even though you can still see your skin texture, like again, I can see freckles and things like that. It does add a little bit of coverage and it does blur the skin. And for me, I need a blurring quality to my foundation because that's just what I like in a foundation. I'm going to build this up just a little more so you can see. I don't think you could build it quite to a medium, but you can almost get it to a medium coverage, I would say. It's like nearly there. We haven't had like super hot weather where I live yet, but we have had like decently nice weather, and I think it holds up in that weather pretty nicely. I don't know how it would perform in like really hot, humid weather though. So I will have to keep testing it out. But so far I've been really, really enjoying this. I wear this a lot for like workouts. So when I go to the gym, I like to just apply this because again, it does look like skin. So this is a great product if you want your skin to just look like your skin but better. If you want it to look like you're a little bit more put together, you're like naturally beautiful, like that kind of makeup, this is the type of product I'd recommend. Like, again, I like to wear this to the gym because it's not crazy makeup where it's like, oh my God, that girl's wearing a ton of makeup at the gym and it's 6 in the morning. This just really enhances your natural beauty and just makes you look a little bit more put together. And it doesn't, like, again, I sweat a lot at the gym and my makeup never breaks up. I can still wear this all day long after I've gone to the gym and it still looks just as beautiful. Yeah, maybe I'll need to touch up with a little bit of powder, but it's just a really pretty everyday foundation, I would say. This is going to become like a staple for me. And I really like that they reformulated it so that the ingredients are a little bit nicer. I do like to go over everything with a beauty blender. This just has no product on it, just to ensure that there's no brush strokes or anything like that. I don't think I have shown you this product on my channel, so I'm going to go in with the Makeup by Mario. This is the Softsculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer in the shade Light Medium. I've kind of been going on and on about this product. I love it. It's a great skin enhancing product. It is not a bronzer. So if you were looking for an actual cream liquid bronzer, this is not the product. This will just enhance your natural skin because with foundation, we've kind of blanked everything out. So I want to add life back to the skin. So I just take this on a BK Beauty. This is a 101 brush and I distribute product from this. Like I press it onto the compact and then I always get the excess product off on the back of my hand. Just in case, I want to make sure it's evenly distributed onto this brush before I apply it onto my face so that I don't get any harsh lines. But this is just so pretty because you literally can't tell that you're wearing bronzer. You can just add a little bit of dimension back to the skin so that your skin looks really healthy and that you actually, like, it actually just looks like natural skin because, again, we're bringing that dimension back to the skin versus that foundation just blanking everything out. And sometimes when you apply foundation to your skin, it actually looks worse than when you just are wearing no makeup because everything's just blank and looks just like awkward. So I really like this product because it just brings that life back. And like I said, it's a complexion enhancer. So my skin just looks better with it on. So you can like see a little bit of a difference with that product, but it's just so natural and so beautiful. This I really recommend. But I've also been loving this Makeup by Mario. This is the new one he released, the Softsculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum. Maybe I'll just go in with a little bit of this to show you. So yeah, I did pick up the shade Light. So probably a little lighter than, I don't know, than the other product, but this is really beautiful as well. This is more of a serum texture versus this product is like a gel-based bronzer or complexion enhancer, where this one is a serum-based one. So this one feels very nourishing. I mean, they both feel pretty nourishing, but I would say this serum here almost feels like it dries down on the skin a little bit better, kind of like a hybrid texture where it's like a liquid. I don't want to say it's a powder finish because it's not, but it does feel like more of a hybrid than this one here, which is that gel consistency. And then I'm just going to go in with a little concealer. Like I said, I didn't have a favorite concealer released in 2024, so I'm just going to take the Givenchy Prisme Libre Skincare and Concealer in the shade N270, and I'll just apply a little bit under my eyes here. I'm going for a pretty natural look, so I just want a little bit of product under my eyes, nothing crazy. But I'm going to go in with my favorite kind of bronzing products that were released in 2024. This is the Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Sun-Kissed Powder in the shade Light Coral. I believe this is the only color that isn't available. You can get the medium coral, the medium rose gold, or some of the deeper shades. I just want to say, does this bother anyone else that this is off center? Because it really bothers me. Don't like that, but like, why couldn't it be center? But anyways, that doesn't really matter. I'm going to go in. I take this Sonia G Niji Pro because it fits pretty nicely in here. And I'll just pick up a little bit of that bronzing product. As always, I like to tap off the excess, and then I will kind of evenly distribute that powder so that it goes onto my face evenly. I'll just distribute that powder onto the back of my hand, and then I apply it by just pressing it into the skin. You can see when I apply product to my face, I don't buff into the skin like this. I am pressing that product in so that I don't disturb any of the product underneath. Because if you're buffing with your products, you can just create kind of a mess when you apply, like your foundation just can get a little bit ruined or things just don't look as good. So I like to apply product that way. I actually usually go in with a different order. So I'm going to go back into this palette. I usually have been applying my blush first, so I should have done that. So I'll go in with a little bit of this blush, and again, I do the exact same thing where I take that excess product and get it off on the back of my hand, just so I don't go in with too much product in one area. And then again, I'm pressing it onto the skin. So usually I would apply the blush first, just because I feel like then I don't need as much bronzer when I go in. So I kind of goofed on applying that, but I just got excited. But you can see I'm applying this in a little bit of a higher area, and I never bring the blush like right to this area. I like to give a little bit of space. Just I think it can look a little awkward when there's blush right beside your nose. You can take it like across the nose though. I think that looks cute. And then, like I said, then I would have gone in with my bronzing product. So I would have done something to this effect. But this is just such a pretty powder because even though it's a powder product, I typically don't love powder products, especially using just all powders, because I think it can look a little bit powdery on the face, especially if you're someone with dry skin like me. But this has no powdery effect on the skin at all. It's truly a beautiful, beautiful product. And then I'll go in with this highlighter in this product, and this is a Wayne Goss 17. I just take an eyeshadow blending brush. I find that product applies really beautifully. And this is such a gorgeous highlighter because you just get this gorgeous glow, this beautiful sheen, but it doesn't look sparkly at all. It doesn't look obvious. It doesn't look fake. It doesn't look too much. It just gives you the right amount of product. And it's so, so gorgeous. And then I like to bring a little bit down the nose as well. And then the blush that I did mention in the video, I really have been loving this Lawless Vintage, no, it's the Lawless Make Me Blush Velvet Blush in the shade Vintage Love. Sometimes, depending on the look, I will go in with a little bit of this just because that coral blush is a little bit on the warm side. So maybe if my lip is more on the cool side or my eyes are gonna be, I don't know, I'm gonna incorporate something with a little bit of coolness. Mostly I want my blush to go with my lips though, and I do believe the lip is going to be a little bit more cool toned. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of this blush just to cool the blush down a little bit, just so it goes with the lip a little bit better. You don't have to do this, but I just like the combination. And you can always layer your blushes. You don't have to just use one product. So if you want to get use out of your makeup, like I love to mix my foundations together. I think you can create some beautiful combinations, especially if you mix a fuller coverage foundation with something like a tinted moisturizer like I use today. You can get some really beautiful mixes, and you can find ways to use maybe foundations that you're not using enough of. I just like to do that a lot. And then one last thing I forgot to mention, I'm going to dip back into that bronzer with this BK Beauty. This is a 202 brush. Again, get that excess off. I'm going to just take a little bit on the outer corner of my eye here and kind of create this like elongated shape. Wow, I cannot speak there. And just create a little bit of dimension there. And you can always run it through the crease as well, just to make your look a little bit more monochromatic. It kind of brings that bronzer into your look so that everything just looks a little bit more complete. And then finally, taking my favorite Clé de Peau Refining Pressed Powder and this Sonia Jean Mini Cheek. I really like this to set my powder because you can get such precise application. So I only like to apply powder just into the center of my face, like on my forehead, the chin, just where I'm a little bit shiny. And then if I do need a little bit more powder throughout the day, I don't feel like terrible about touching up because I only have powder in really minimal places on my face. And I just think, again, it looks a little bit more natural. If you want to blur your skin in any areas, this is, again, I would use this as basically your blurring tool. Like, you know how they have those blurring tools on like photo app or photo editors and stuff? This is basically like your blurring tool. Anywhere where you want to blur, you apply the powder, and this is truly the most blurring powder I've ever tried. It's so gorgeous. It's a finely milled powder. It's beautiful. You cannot detect powder on your skin. It's not going to add any coverage or color to your complexion, so it's just beautiful if you want to blur your skin versus you adding like coverage and texture to your skin. I'm going to pull out my favorite palette of this year, and this is the Clé de Peau Coral Reef Eyeshadow Quad. And I'm going to start off with this primer shade. So it's like this putty consistency. It's a really interesting texture. This is like a beautiful champagne kind of rose gold. It has a hint of pink in it. It's really lovely. I'm going to take it on this rougher This is an O2 brush. And so with this primer shade, it's really interesting, even though it's this putty consistency, so it doesn't apply like a powder eyeshadow. You can still use a regular eyeshadow brush and it gives just the most beautiful sheen. And what this primer allows, so it basically allows the eyeshadows to lay even more smoothly and beautifully over top. They will blend even easier, which is hard to imagine because these eyeshadows blend just beautifully on their own as it is. So you don't even necessarily need to go in with this primer shade as a base underneath, but it is just like the prettiest rose gold shade, like I said. And it's funny because prior to this eyeshadow palette, I was not a pink girl. Like, you could not get me to wear pink eyeshadow. And these aren't like an actual pink. It's called Coral Reef, which is a deceiving name because this actually leans quite on the, I would say like, it's pinky, but it's not super pink, like an obnoxious pink. And like when someone looks at you in person, it's not gonna look like an actual pink eyeshadow. It just has a slight pink undertone, but it's really beautiful. It's like I said, this tone is more of a champagne that leans slightly on the rosy tone, but it's very, very subtle. It doesn't, like I said, actually look pink. It's just more pink compared to like the bronzes and the golds that I normally use. But now I feel like these tones are just so flattering. I'm going to take a BK Beauty 204 brush and I'm going to dip into this deepest shade. This deepest shade has a little bit of a sheen. And I'm just going to line the top lash line. I am not going to be precise here. I'm just going to kind of sweep that across the lash line. And it's just going to add some depth. You could go in with a smaller brush to be even more precise, but I'm not being super precise here. I am going to kind of wing out that outer corner. So I'm going to kind of create a wedge shape just to deepen the outer corner so it has a little bit more drama. This is definitely a little bit more intense than I normally go, but it's not going to be like an intense look by any means. So just kind of creating that wedge shape in that very outside corner with that excess product. This is pigmented, so it goes a long way. Like I said, it's just so easy to blend over top. I'm going to take a Refer 01 brush and I'm going to dip into this matte shade here. This is kind of the only matte shade in the palette, and it's like a beautiful dusty rose sort of color. And I'm just going to go over top with that little wedge shape I created. I'm going to blend over the edges, going to go on the outer corner of the eye. And then with the leftover product, I will just bring it lightly into the crease. And I just love these shadows because, like I said, there's no fallout at all. I'm going to go back into that Dusty Rose matte shade, and I'm going to bring that along the lower lash line just to bring some color there. And then I'm also going to dip into this bronze shade right here, and I'm going to bring that along the lower lash line as well. This is like my favorite shade in the palette, I want to say. It's the most perfect bronze that I have ever seen in my life. I wish they came out with this in the single eyeshadows because this is something I want to use all the time. It'd be a perfect one and done. And you could leave the eyes just like that, but I'm going to go back in with that bronze shade and I'm going to apply that all over the eyelid as well, just over top of that primer shade. It's going to be really light-handed. Gorgeous. Like I said, it blends so easily. If you're a beginner, these would be perfect shadows to start out with because they're basically foolproof. They look absolutely gorgeous in person. It gives you the most beautiful sheen. There are no sparkly chunks or anything like that. It is so flattering. My mom also picked up, I think she picked up 3 of the Clé de Peau eyeshadow quads, so these are going to work beautifully if you have mature skin as well. They're honestly perfect. I'm going to quickly move on to the lips before I apply mascara, and I am going to go in with the Clé de Peau lipstick. So I have 2 shades that I really love, and these are awesome because these Clé de Peau lipsticks, while they are on the pricey side, they're actually good for 24 months, which a lot of the time luxury lipsticks or lipsticks in general are only good for 6 to 12 months. So I really like that. I'm going to start with the shade number 12, Power Mauve. And I'm going to apply that all over the lips. This is basically My Lips But Better shade, but slightly deeper than my lip color. And then I'm going to go in with the shade number 11, Triumphant Tawny. And I'm going to apply that over top. I really like both of these shades. It honestly doesn't matter which color. Like, I feel like both of them are beautiful. The Triumphant, or the Power Mauve, is definitely a little bit deeper. It has a little bit more of like a pinky rosebud undertone, where the Triumphant Tawny is like a really beautiful neutral nude. I feel like it doesn't lean too cool or too warm. It's like that perfect in between. So it goes with so many different looks. I just went ahead and added some mascara, and I used my favorite mascara, which is the YSL Lash Clash mascara in the shade Brown. That's just kind of a holy grail. And that is everything for my Get Ready With Me using my absolute favorite beauty products from the year of 2024 so far. So I'd love to hear your favorite products. So many of you have mentioned some great products for me to try out, but I'd love to hear if you haven't, let me know. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.